Something a little bit different on the vlog today, partly because it's obviously a major thing that's going on in my life today. It's literally all I've done today is look at cars, even while I was at work. But also because it's currently 10:34 at night, and this is the second vlog I've recorded today because I did a 10-minute long vlog explaining about how my computer wasn't working, the sky is falling, disaster. I might edit it together and stick it on Patreon or something at some point, or I don't know, stick it somewhere. Not actually put it on the channel because none of it's true, because it turned out I just didn't have the laptop plugged in properly. So that problem solved. I'm now recording using that laptop and sort of throwing together a summary of my day, because what was going to be this was kind of the original plan for today's vlog. So this has been my day. I have had at least 12 missed calls over the course of the day from various car people, trying to sell me stuff, which is fine. I need to buy a car. I'm in quite desperate need of a car, but I've been tweeting out various bits throughout the day, interacting with you guys in the comments as well about it, trying to gauge what I should be doing. I don't know whether I should be buying a brand new car, whether I should be buying a nearly new car, whether I should buy a used but not too old, still quite reliable car, or whether I should just go out and buy another old banger. I think over the course of today, through lots and lots and lots of looking at cars on the internet, I think I've pretty much decided I'm not going to buy an old banger. I'm not going to get something for like $2,000 and run it into the ground. That's what I did with this car, and now I'm in this mess. I don't want to be in this mess. I want a car that's going to be reliable enough to not need £1,000 or £1,500 worth of maintenance work doing on it every year. Like this Skoda, since I've had it, it's cost me at least £1,000 every single year in garage bills, if not more. And I don't want to have to do that on a new car. I want to be able to get a decent car with a warranty of some kind, even if it's not like a comprehensive thing, but some kind of warranty for the big stuff, and just a little bit of peace of mind that if it breaks down or blows up, someone's going to help me sort it out. But also because it's that bit newer and better looked after, and it's less likely to destroy itself in the first place. So I'm kind of decided that it needs to be a new car, or a nearly new, like maybe a maximum of 3 or 4 years old kind of thing. And then it all gets so complicated, and I just don't know what to do. This is the reason we started with the Kia Carens on screen, is because we were this close to buying one of these about 18 months ago. We'd been for the test drive. We had the finance arranged. We were at the point where we were sort of picking out colours and what spec we wanted for it. And then we had a bit of an unwelcome shock with tax credits being taken away from us, because we'd kind of got accustomed for a certain amount of time to have a certain level of income from my work, from our working tax credit, from various other things. But it turned out for about a year we'd been getting really overpaid on tax credits. So we went from having what felt like a lot of money at the time to, that was wrong, you shouldn't have had that, and also we now need you to pay it back. So we abandoned the idea of buying a car, sorted that out, and put the idea of a car into the back burner. And obviously it's been pushed even further on the back burner with the whole starting a business, leaving work thing. But this gives you an idea of what I would like. This would be, if I could go out and spend as much money as I wanted, it would be something like this. There's 5 of us. The kids are all getting older. They don't fit in the back of my Skoda anymore, the 3 of them. And we bought the Skoda because at the time it was supposed to be the most roomy in the back of the car you could get. There's probably a technical term for that. But bottom line, 3 kids don't really fit in that car properly anymore. And especially when we've got Dave in the boot. If we're going out somewhere with Dave, all 5 of us plus Dave, we can't take coats. We can't take a bag, because there's nowhere to put any of that stuff. So in an ideal world, we get something big, 7-seater, not necessarily with 7 seats. The ability to move the seats around within it would be really cool. I used to have one of my old company cars was a Peugeot 307 SW, which wasn't a massive car, it was just an estate car. But the really good thing about that car was that the row of 3 seats in the back were 3 individual seats that could be taken out and moved, and you could take them out and put them in an extra row in the boot, basically. So you could have two behind the driver and then one in the boot, or you could stick two in the boot and have just one person in the middle row and a big gap. And that kind of flexibility of arrangement really appeals to me. And you can do that with the Karens. And I wouldn't want the 7 seats. That car with 5 seats, but the flexibility it offers would be really, really cool. But these things cost like 15 to 20. There you go, 20 grand for one of these. We've not got 20 grand to buy a car. We're starting a business. I'm leaving work. So we kind of have to rule that out. And then I remember the other thing I was toying with at the time. I liked a couple of the Vauxhalls. And Vauxhall have this thing going on at the moment, which a couple of you have mentioned in the comments, where they're doing a £2,000 scrappage deal for any old piece of trash car if we put it towards a new Vauxhall. In addition to that, they're offering another £1,500 dealer deposit on top on a new car. So if we were to buy a brand new car from Vauxhall, we effectively have a £3,500 deposit, and I like the sound of that. The problem is the equivalent car of them, I guess, is the Zafira Tourer, which again starts at 19.5 grand. So although 3.5 grand of free money is nice, it still makes it a 16 grand car. The next one down would be the Mariva, which starts at 14 grand. But even then, we're looking at £10,000 plus for a car that's then not ideal. But I spent a lot of time on the Vauxhall website looking at the Zafira Tourer, looking at the Mariva. Quite like the look of them both. So I then headed and thought, right, well, let's shelve new cars for a little while and have a little think about used cars. So I started looking at used versions, and that took me to the likes of Motorpoint and various other places like that. This is a used Zafira Tourer. This is the one that would be like £23,000 for a brand new, and it's a 2016 one, so nearly new, less than 6,000 miles on the clock. It is a 7-seater. It's a big car. You can see from some of the pictures that it gives me exactly that flexibility that I'm looking for. It's perfect. But it's still £12,000. We haven't got £12,000 to throw it in. If we did, we'd be stupid to invest it in a car at the moment when it would make more sense going into the business. Even doing this on a payment plan thing, if we put down the maximum deposit we could, I don't know whether we'd be 6,000 or 8,000 or 12,000 miles. At the moment, I'm insured for 8,000. I do about 8,000. But I'm obviously not going to be commuting to work anymore, but I might be taking him to school every day. 6,000 might be enough. If we did that over 4 years, we're looking at £214 a month. It's a lot of money. For someone who, I mean, we could, if I wasn't leaving work, I would do this. I would buy this car if I wasn't leaving my job, because £214 a month, we could afford that comfortably at the moment. It's a nice car. It's exactly what we want. It's only a year old, and it's saving us 11 grand on what a brand new one would be. It's got everything I want. This would be absolutely perfect. But £214 a month is a lot of money to have to find every month when our income is taking such a hit, and we don't even know what's happening come September yet. We don't know how we're going to be. There's so much stuff still up in the air. Very complicated. More news on that at some point. So scaling down again with Vauxhall. A Mariva, a slightly older Mariva. So a 2014 Mariva. It's got like 20,000 miles on the clock, I think. 17,500 miles. But suddenly in the realms of dirt cheap. 7 grand. If we really had to, we could go out and buy it. We don't really want to go out and buy it. We'd kind of like to do it on finance again. Finance on this one, they reckon £25 a week on 0% finance. I have spoken to their finance people today. They're getting back to me tomorrow and actually putting together a quote for me for if we were to get this car. And this one is probably in the lead at the moment, purely because of the fact if it's £100 a month, and it ticks most of the boxes. I mean, it is spacious in the back. It's got a decent sized boot. It's not any bigger than the Octavia is, so it doesn't tick all the boxes. But it's a nice enough car. It's certainly new enough to still be perfectly manageable, and we'd be comfortable with it. And I don't know, I quite like it, and I like the fact it's only 7 grand. And if it really came down to it, and me and Anna would have to sit down and have a chat and decide whether we wanted to do finance or whether we just wanted to buy the thing. And I don't know. I don't know what would be best. I'm happy to take your viewpoints on that as ever. And then, just as I was kind of made up that this was what I wanted to do, a wild card was introduced into proceedings because a few people, all at the same time, after I'd been looking at cars for like 6 hours, all threw the name Dacia at me. And I had never heard of this company. But as you can see on there, it was the What Car of the Year 2017 is a Dacia Sandero. But the two models that were talked about as being good for me were the Sandero Stepway, this one, and the Duster, which is a bigger one, big car. And the thing that struck me straight away is, well, hold the phone, Kev. This is a brand new car for roughly what you're looking at paying for a 3-year-old one that doesn't tick all the boxes. This is a brand new one that I'm pretty sure ticks all those boxes. I mean, it looks horrible. It looks like a toy car. But looking at it, it's got plenty of space. It's pretty much ideal. The Duster, the one that's a little bit more expensive, I really quite like this car. Anna thinks it looks awful because she doesn't like anything 4x4-y. But I think that's quite cool. And I think if it was, having now changed my mind, I think if I was making the decision completely by myself, I would have moved on from the Kia Carens and the Zafira Tourer, and I think I'd go and get one of these because I think that's really cool. I think it's got loads of space inside. It's brand new. It's got a 5-year warranty. I don't understand why it's so cheap, but reading reviews about it, everyone's saying it's a really good car. So I'm now wondering whether we do one of these or the other one, the one that Anna likes. But once we start getting into moving more from 6 or 7 grand up towards 10 to 12 grand again, by the time we've customized it to how we want it to be, because if we fiddle with all the options on this, yes, it starts at 9 grand, but realistically we don't want the entry level 9 grand looks like a white van version. We'd tweak around with some of the options, and for me to get equivalent spec on this to what I could get on the Vauxhall that I was looking at, I think we said we had to tick that one, so it becomes a £10,000 car. We can't go and buy a £10,000 car. It would back into the realms of finance again, and I can't see anywhere on here where we can get a quote for finance on Dacia. I've not looked at this one as much, but it doesn't look like they've got online quotes for us. So I guess we need to go and find them and talk to them. Or, I mean, the thing that I really like about it is it's got an order online button. Never seen a car place with an order online button. I'd love to order a car online, although it doesn't work. It gives me an error message when I do it. But, I don't know, a decent, brand new... A brand new car with a 5-year warranty, so a warranty longer than the credit agreement, with all the stuff we need, all the space we need, room to grow, big boot for Dave, room for the kids in the back, the little silly things that will make me actually enjoy the process, like a digital radio, somewhere to plug my phone in, air conditioning. I know, all this stuff, you might think I'm silly, but if I'm going to get a new car, I want it to be a car that I'm still going to be happy with a couple of years down the line. If I'm going to be paying for it for 4 years, I need to know that in 4 years' time, when, regardless of what happens with the business over the next year, in 4 years' time, we'll comfortably be able to afford something like this again, because either the business will have taken off or I'll be back working again. Either way, a new car is realistic and affordable, and I want to still have one then that I won't be thinking, I hate this car. Can't believe I'm paying however much a month for this car. I hate it. I want a new one. If I'm stuck with it for 4 years, it needs to be something I'll be happy to be stuck with, which is why we wouldn't just do the 6 grand version. Because if we then compare them, do a comparison, add another version. So if we add so it's got the absolute basic one. If we compare that to the one that I would like, and compare the difference. So the really cheap one, I don't care what the wheels are like. I don't care about most of this stuff. But little silly things like doesn't have electric windows in the back. Doesn't have the one-touch electric windows. That's a pain in the backside. What's all this with cars not having a spare wheel anymore, by the way? That blows my mind. Doesn't have adjustable headrests. Doesn't have... I don't know. What have we got? Doesn't have air conditioning. The entry-level one does not have air conditioning. I'm not having 4-speed heating and ventilation system. I've had air conditioning for 15 years on my cars. I'm not going back to not having air conditioning. Doesn't even have central locking. So you have to walk up to it and unlock it with it. No, I'm not going to unlock it with a key. Doesn't have a radio or a decent radio. Doesn't have anything really. I can't get that. I would hate every minute of it. So, yeah. I'm not really any closer to knowing what I'm going to do than I was this morning. I said yesterday I hate this process. I really, really, really hate this process. I'll be interested to know your thoughts down in the comments. Don't worry, it's not going to be Kev's car shopping every day from now on. This is a one-off way of doing this episode because circumstances have kind of forced me into it by the fact that the vlog I had done and started editing on the MacBook kind of went down the toilet. So I thought, this is what I've had to do 8 hours of this. You lot can have 15 minutes of it. But I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. I need to go and lie down and stop thinking about cars. Thanks for watching.